Welcome all to this Skype meeting where we will present some of the common services used by researchers for networking and increasing the visibility of their research. As you know, scholarly journals have traditionally been the focus of research outputs, but there have been signs that the ways researchers disseminate their research is changing. Researchers are increasingly using social media, and they are even expected to have a professional online presence. So social media can be regarded as a new way to be more visible. In social media and networking services aimed especially at researchers, you can present yourself to the science community and to other interested. You can develop your professional networks and collaboration there. You can also use these services for new projects, for example by gathering researchers together or by telling about the progress of your research project. Often researchers only discuss with researchers of the same discipline and topic. However, these services are good places for setting up dialogues also with people outside your research field. You can also ask advice to your research problems and look for employees or jobs. Some of these services can be used for finding publications. There is a huge number of publications also in these services, and you can get notifications about new ones. In general, it is important for you as a researcher to stand out from the rest and get your work more visibility. Online visibility is important for researchers, but also for the research and the society. Sharing research findings can reach other researchers, but also decision makers, journalists, and the general public. So a notably wider audience can become aware of your research and its findings. This can even promote citizen science. So social media can be a channel for making research visible and available. Information about publications on social media may have positive influence on citations. This benefits both the research and its authors. There are many services available for being visible. At UEF, we have our own UEF Connect, but in this training, we introduce some of the most popular ones worldwide. Also, we show some tools which can be used for assessing the impact of your work, like how you can find the numbers of read citations or altmetrics. Our advice is that it is better to keep one profile updated than have many bad profiles that haven't been updated in years. It is always your choice which services you like to use and how actively. Maybe you could, for example, check in which services your colleagues are and what they are doing there. If you decide to use many services, you can link your different accounts. Remember to keep them updated as well. For example, in UEF Connect, you can link several accounts. About UEF Connect, you can find more information in Heimo. You can also find basic information about these networking services on UEF Library web pages. There is under Research Support, Researcher and Research Visibility. There is information about the networking services, researcher IDs and some basic information. Check these pages when you have time. Next, we will go through some of the most commonly used networking services. First, we have LinkedIn. It is kind of general networking service not only for researchers but to specialists of all fields. There are companies, employers, experts and students, for example, networking here. The basic version is free of charge, but you can buy the premium version if you want. I think LinkedIn is mostly used for finding jobs, but it can be used for other purposes as well. LinkedIn was founded in 2003 and nowadays it is owned by Microsoft. There are about 675 million users. Its main vision is to bring employers and employees together. You can use LinkedIn with your computer or with your mobile device. On your computer, go to linkedin.com, sign up by filling in your information and click on Agree and Join. You can also sign in with your Facebook account. If you want to use the mobile app, first install the application in the App Store and open the LinkedIn app. Again, click Join Now, fill in your information and click Agree and Join. Here's an opportunity to use Google account. When you have your account, start editing and fill in your profile. Add your photo, education, work experience and other skills and accomplishments. Search and add people to your connections. LinkedIn will then also suggest new connections for you. You can also search groups of certain topics. Remember to update your profile whenever needed and increase your networks. What can you do in LinkedIn? In addition to networking with other specialists, you can market your competence and skills. You can also search and join groups of different topics. You can congratulate people of their achievements, like if someone has been promoted or had a new job, and get notifications from others. And of course, LinkedIn is a good place for finding jobs, partners, or training. The next service we have is ResearchGate. It is a social networking service especially for scientists. It was founded in 2008 and at the moment there are about 16 million users. I have heard that this service is favored by natural and life scientists. ResearchGate automatically searches for publications in many databases and therefore information about your new publications can end up to ResearchGate and you don't need to manually add them there. ResearchGate also makes suggestions for you about publications of your interests and about researchers who are interested in same topics. You can also use ResearchGate for finding jobs. The vision of ResearchGate is that it promotes for connecting the world of science and opening research available for everyone. Also with ResearchGate, you can use it on your computer or on mobile app. First, go to researchgate.net and fill in the requested information. You may need to verify your account via an email. Update your profile by adding all information and a photo. You can also sign in with your Facebook, LinkedIn or Google account. If you want to use the ResearchGate mobile app, register with the service on your computer and then download the mobile app from the App Store. So, what can you do in ResearchGate? ResearchGate is mainly for researchers, so one main purpose of it is to enable sharing research. You can share, for example, your publications, presentations, posters or data there. However, it is really important to be responsible with sharing. So make sure that you share only items that you are allowed to share. Before uploading your work there, check the possible guidelines of the publisher, funder and organization. Often it is okay to share preprint versions. This means manuscript before the reviewer's work. However, some publishers may allow sharing final drafts after a certain embargo period. Final draft is the manuscript version having the final content, but the journal layout is missing. So, you can share your work in ResearchGate, but of course also read publications shared by other researchers. Check the terms of use from the original source or ask the owner of the material. For example, if you are planning to use data that you have found in ResearchGate, remember to check the user rights. When you are sharing your publications via this kind of social media, see what are the sharing politics of the publisher. This kind of sharing is not considered as self-archiving, but you can find some approximate guidelines via Sherpa Romeo, which is an online service for checking the publisher's self-archiving politics. To sum up, sharing DOIs is safe, as well as sharing open access articles. Often publishers allow sharing preprints or final drafts. But as I said, check these from the publisher beforehand. So what else can you do in ResearchGate? Use it for networking. You can search people, and also ResearchGate suggests new connections for you. You can also create a project page and use it as a window to your project. You can also find some bibliometrics, which means that you can see how many reads and citations you have gotten. You can create open or closed groups, for example on the basis of your research topic. You can also ask research questions or answer them. You can follow how the discussions are proceeding. There are also job advertises there, so you can use ResearchGate for finding jobs. Overall, ResearchGate is a good place, especially for researchers, to be visible. Next, we have academia.edu. This is also mainly for researchers and other academics. It was the first ever social media for researchers. There are over 122 million users and about 25 million research publications. Academia.edu advertises that there are about 31 million visitors each month. I have understood that especially researchers of humanities and social sciences are using academia.edu. You can access academia.edu via this link. Sign up and log in with your email, Google or Facebook account. There is also a mobile app available, so you can use it via your mobile device if you like. As in ResearchGate, also in academia.edu, you can share your publications and search publications shared by others. Often Google can find articles in these services. You can also request a full text from the author via these services. If you are searching a certain article, you can Google it and see if it's available in Academia or ResearchGate. You can get article suggestions based on your interests. You can follow other researchers and see the impact of your publication in the analytics section. If you like, you can also ask comments on your manuscript via academia.edu. In the premium version, which is not free of charge, you can find grants mainly for humanities and social sciences.
So, good morning to everyone from me too. I will continue with some other services that are used for research visibility and networking. And I start with Twitter. It is an interactive, free, fast, so-called microblogging service, and it has been running since 2006. And the messages in Twitter are called tweets, and the length is limited to a maximum of 2008 characters. It was originally only half of that, but it was increased some time ago. In Twitter, you can send and receive updates using either web, so your computer browser, or you can use a mobile device like a phone or tablet. And the January this year, the number of active users per month was 340 million. Of course, there are lots of other users in Twitter than researchers, but many of them are also, so many researchers are very active on Twitter. What can you do there? You can read the tweets, so the messages, and from the point of view of researchers, you would be interested in tweets from researchers or research groups, organizations, events that are in the field of your interest and your research. You can follow specific topics. You can also find discussions around some hot topics. Sometimes lots of messages on a topic and kind of debates going on Twitter. You can also follow different publications or events, funders, services in your field. Often seminars and conferences do have their own so-called hashtag that describe the topic or the event, and you can follow them. So people tweet during conferences, and you can get information on what's happening there and what's being talked about. You can share, you can like, you can reply, you can get to know colleagues or keep in touch with someone you already met. You can find conferences or jobs, news, different publications, research partners. And it's known that people have even gotten invitations to give presentations or participate in projects on Twitter. And then, in addition to following and seeing what others are doing and what they are talking about and writing about, is that you can write your own tweets. And Twitter is very good in learning to summarize, to be brief, because of the limited amount of characters in the messages. And when you write, it's important to use the hashtag to describe the topics. You can share also links, for instance, to a project website or a publication, or you can share pictures and videos too. You can comment and ask and answer. There's also a possibility, in addition to the public discussion that is can be seen by anyone on Twitter. There's also a possibility to ask questions privately, so private messages are possible. And sometimes it's so that you can spot important news earlier than anywhere else. Twitter is very fast. And by being active on Twitter, you can increase your visibility as a researcher and build networks. But of course, it's also possible, at least at first, to just follow others without actually writing or sharing anything yourself. Start using Twitter. You go to the address of Twitter, twitter.com, and you register. It doesn't ask for a lot of details, your name, and either your email address or your phone number. And then in customizing your experience part, you would tick the option of letting others find your Twitter account, and then maybe you might not want the emails, but of course if you want to, you can get them, but you get the recommendations anyway on Twitter. And then you just sign up. And on a mobile device, you do the same after you have gotten the application for your phone. So creating an account is very simple. After that, you realize that Twitter is actually empty. There's nothing there. Everyone's Twitter is different, and you make your own Twitter. And you start by following. So here are some tips. You follow tweeters that are connected to your discipline and your research. You can search by email address or name, Or you can start searching for tweets and tweeters using the hashtags that describe your discipline and your research. And an example of a hot topic now is, of course, the hashtag for the current pandemic, but that's not, of course, everyone's research topic, but it's an example here. Or you can search for tweets and tweeters using hashtags that are related to science and research in a more general sense, and that might lead you to researchers that are that are of interest to you. So you can use hashtags like research or science Twitter or academic Twitter, and there are some other examples here. Higher ed means higher education. The hashtags are often abbreviations, so once you look for it, you can see, oh, that's what it's about. Some other tips: you can follow funders. For example, the ERC research is the European Research Council, the European Horizon Programme, the Finnish Academy, and so on. Of course, I would recommend following UF tweeters like the university itself, the rectors, some of the schools, and so on. Or maybe you would like to follow the Finnish Committee for Research Data, which is the FinCRD, or Open Science. Once you have found some interesting accounts to follow, Twitter will give you tips for more. So kind of, if you are interested in this, you might also be interested in that. But you choose what and who to follow, and anytime you can stop following. And that's not a problem. Then we move to a different kind of networking service called Impact Story. It's a non-profit foundation-funded service whose objective is to make scientific research more open, more accessible, and more reusable. There are two parts in it, completely different. The one is Impact Story Profiles, which is an Altmetric tool. You can view and share the attention and impact of your publications, your blog posts, and data. And then the other part is Unpaywall, which is internet browser add-on that shows you if an article you have found online is openly available or if it's behind a paywall. This is an example of an Impact Story profile. So it gives you data related to your publications, like or the percentage of open access publications in your profile. The global reach means where your publications have been read and shared, and then also about the popularity of your research output. And starting using this Impact Story, this service is connected to your ORCID ID, so the researcher ID called ORCID. So that's how it tracks your publications, but it's also connected to Twitter. So you can join Impact Story using your Twitter account. And you go to the address and then join for free with Twitter. And you give Impact Story permission to see what Twitter users see. So it's the connection works that way. There's no separate registration. but you can anytime change the Twitter account or just disconnect it. The other part, the Unpaywall extension, there are instructions on how to install it on different browsers, either Google Chrome or Firefox, and it's easier for Firefox, fewer steps. Once you have it, when you search for articles using, for instance, Google Scholar, if you see a green lock symbol on the right of the article, it means that it's open access, the lock is open. But if the lock symbol is green, the article is behind a paywall. And then, of course, we recommend that you go to UF Primo, the library search service, so that you can see if we have then subscription to the journal, and you can access it via our services. There's even an option in this system that you can see what kind of open access the article is, if you are interested in such details. I've mentioned Altmetrics, and the term comes from the words alternative and metrics. More than actually alternative, it's complementary to traditional bibliometrics. It's related to the measurement of the visibility of science and scientific publications. Altmetrics can measure visibility of scholarly output through the numbers of clicks, downloads, blog posts, social bookmarks, likes, tweets, and so on that are related to the publication or other output. And it's a part of the filtering of scientific information, the huge amount of publications that we get now. So it's necessary to have tools to filter and measure the records of attention and the measures of dissemination, and it gives you indicators of influence and impact. And there is a service, a company called Altmetric, and they aim to answer the question, who is talking or writing about your research? So it gives tools to monitor the attention of your publications and research data by utilizing the article or the book or the presentation or the report, so the research output, and the information about the researcher and the publication IDs, that there are different, and then the mentions in the many sources that they monitor. You might have seen the Altmetric donut somewhere online. So it's this circle, it's called donut. And it can be very multicolored or can have only one or two colors mostly, because the colors are related to the different monitored sources that Altmetric uses. And they followed or monitored several sources of attention, and they have stopped some of them because some of the services have stopped, or they just realized it's not relevant. And they also give a different score for different services. So news has a very high score of 8, and then you can see that some have only 0.25. So this is how the donut is created in this service. And you can see the donut on publishers' article pages, or for instance on the publication database of organizations like UF Repo, the UFE repository. Here in the example under the unique identifier here, you can see that there's an Altmetric donut available, or you might have seen on the websites of individual researchers. You can add an Altmetric it bookmark onto your browser and use several other tools free of charge, but there are also sections in Altmetric that are not free of charge, so there are fees. If you want to use the Altmetric it bookmarklet, you go to the address that is shown there, and you click on the Altmetric bookmarklet in the Learn More section, and then you just drag the button to the favorites bar in your net browser. And once you have it, and when you're visiting a website where there is an article, like here from the British Medical Journal, an article, you click on the icon and the donut will become visible, and then when you click on it, you can find more information on the attention on the article has received. So you can see the mentions and citations and readers and so on, and demographics related to the publication. We will soon stop the recording, and then we'll see if there are any questions in the chat. But now we would just like to say that you can contact us if you have any problems or questions. We will try to help, and you can find more information on library training sessions on our training menu.